There is a new epidemic gripping the world, but unlike cancer and heart disease, we can actually pinpoint the exact cause and do, or rather not do, things that lead to it. Of all the causes of death, none have been as senseless as car accidents caused by drivers being distracted by their phone. People, and more specifically teenagers, are dying in record numbers, and the statistics are staggering. 4,000 a year die and 390,000 injured, many for life, just in the US alone as a result of phone distractions. That's over 1,000 injuries and 11 deaths per day. Imagine 11 of your friends, relatives, co-workers, classmates all of a sudden died today only because they were looking at a small glass-covered box for less than 5 seconds. 5 seconds is the average time people spend looking at their phone every time they look down. At 55 miles an hour, in 5 seconds a car travels the length of a football field. That means you're basically driving blind the same distance it takes Desmond Howard to break 11 tackles on his way to a touchdown on a kick return. My question is, what are we doing about it? Why are we not raging? Why are we letting the parents of the dead suffer alone and in vain without preventing future deaths? The world is full of people dying from things we can't control or predict. Why are we letting 4,000 more deaths happen that we can easily avoid? One reason is because we tend to spring into action only when something really bad happens to someone close to us, like a disease or an accident or a natural disaster. When it does happen, we donate to charities that support relevant cause, warn others of its dangers, alter our own habits to prevent it from happening to us personally. We're basically engineered to react. If it's something that touches our life, something that we can relate to, then it's worth our time. So as you are watching this video and you don't know anyone personally that went through the horror of losing a loved one, or themselves being involved in an accident as a result of a distracted driver, you will not do a single thing apart from shaking your head in agreement and maybe sharing this video, which you should do, but it basically passes the responsibility to someone else. The reality is, 11 people will die tomorrow, over 1,000 will be injured, many for life. What are you going to do about it today? What if one of them is someone you know? But what can we do? In a little bit I will suggest a few ways you specifically can actually have an impact, but for now I'll mention what is not working. On a wide scale, the only thing we have done is introduce regulations in most states which make it illegal to drive while operating an electronic device. But those regulations are not working. In less than 3% of all situations when people are using their phone while driving, they actually get pulled over. Out of the other 97% of the time, 4,000 people lose their life every year. One of the things that has shown potential are devices that block the use of the phone while the car is engaged. Companies such as Cell Control offer a good option for parents to keep their kids safe, but it would be immeasurably more impactful if the car manufacturers themselves were required by law to install these devices in all of their vehicles, or at least in specific models they could market for young adults. It worked for seatbelts, and look how many lives they're saving every single day. For me, the biggest issue is that the minimum legal age for driving in this country is too young, and the requirements of obtaining a license are virtually non-existent. The training you would logically expect happens after kids get their license, when we say go out into the real world and learn how to drive. Which is fine if you're learning how to dribble a basketball, but when there is a 10-ton truck in the driving lane instead of a 7-footer, I say we owe it to our kids to provide them with better training. Why does it take even a small crane operator 6 years and literally thousands of hours of apprenticeship just to be allowed to operate a machine that virtually never leaves a designated area? And any 16-year-old kid that passes one basic slow driving test, which tests no ability of dealing with stress of everyday traffic, can get behind a 2-ton hunk of metal that is capable of traveling up to 6 times the legal speed limit and is allowed to interact at will with defenseless pedestrians and literally thousands of other vehicles coming from every direction. And the only measure of control we managed to implement is a $200 ticket, money that most teens don't value because they have no experience in earning it. Why are cars even allowed to be manufactured with the ability to drive at more than 10 to 20% of the maximum legal speed limit? There is no reason any car should be capable of driving at more than 75 miles an hour. We have the technology to limit the top speed electronically, why not integrate it? We can even install sensors on the roads that interact with cars as they go by, and change the top speed capabilities to match the speed requirements of a zone they are entering. A better question is, why do these teens even need a car in the first place? Most of the teens that are involved in accidents relating to the use of a phone are in high school. The proximity to school does not change throughout the 4 years. Why do the kids all of a sudden require their own transportation after the first 2? The problem is that our culture equates getting a car for a teenager with the start of adulthood, symbolizing freedom for the first time. But while they're still in high school, they're in no way living a life of an adult, and they're still trying to find themselves and fit in. And being left out of a loop if they don't return a text, like an Instagram post, or upload something to Snapchat is far more frightening than the possibility of being pulled over, let alone the possibility of getting into an accident. Combine that with the acceleration of speed, lack of respect for risk because they have not yet experienced any real hardship, and you got a teenager that takes driving only slightly more serious than a video game. Is their relative freedom more important than their lives? Let's at least help our teens and young adults live longer by investing in their driving education while they're still in high school, and allow them driving freedom on their 19th birthday rather than 16 or 17. 2 or 3 years make a huge difference when the mind is still maturing. As I asked earlier, what can we do about it today? Well, there is something you can do right now. There is definitely no one solution to eliminate accidents caused by distracting driving altogether. But if you agree with some of the measures mentioned in the video, or if you have a better wide-scale solution yourself, let's start a campaign. Start by doing what it took me literally 2 minutes to do. Write your congressman. They have so much power, and appeasing their constituency is how they remain in power. So if it's important to all of us, it will become important to them. It is actually really simple. In the description I include a link. Click on it, enter your zip code, and it will pull up the congressman representing your district. Just click on the mail icon next to their name and send them a message about what regulations you feel would best help reduce texting and driving. If you agree with the point in this video and you want to see the minimum driving age be increased to 19, along with stricter requirements for getting a license, you can use the template that is included in the description. Modify it as you see fit, or simply copy and paste it. This can take you as little as a minute, but the value of all of us doing it together could be priceless, even if we save only one life. We always say, but what can I do? Well, in this case, here's something that you can do that is simple and yet really meaningful. Send the message and share the video with others, or tell someone in person. If you're really passionate about this subject like me, make a video, write a blog, or send a letter to newspaper editors, but get people talking. At the very worst, we will start a dialogue, which is what this video is really designed to do. That conversation may actually reveal even more impactful solutions, and perhaps even save your life.